Welcome to Knife Chats. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, share it with friends, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Thank you. I did a video on this knife already, the Red Ryder camp knife by Colonial that was made in 1990 for Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and it seemed somewhat popular. And so I thought I would show the last Red Ryder camp knife that also was made by Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and that is the one for the 75th anniversary of Red Ryder. And it is significantly different than this one. First of all, this one is made in China. This one was made in the United States. This one was by Colonial, and this is made through the Rough Rider factory in China by Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Now, they also make a similar one that is just the Red Ryder boy's knife in a tobacco bone handle. And this is that knife, very similar to that one. The difference is this one does not have any kind of shield on it, and the key ring is on the opposite end, as you can tell here. This one has it on the end with the screwdriver. This one has it on the opposite end, and the blade edge on this one will just say boy's knife, and obviously tobacco bone scales, and not too bad. I don't know what that is. I'll scrape it off. But that's the usual Red Ryder boy's knife, and then we have the 75th anniversary one, and you can see a distinct difference between it. Now, among things on here, the 75th anniversary will have the 75th anniversary box. The inside of both boxes are the same. Stick around for the slideshow, and I'll show you what the inside of the box looks like. And also, this is the little belt pouch that comes with both knives. It'll come with the boy's knife. It also comes with the 75th anniversary. It has a little compass on the snap there that actually, well, more or less points north. So it is somewhat helpful, and it's form fitted for the knife, and the knife goes in there quite well. It'll fit either knife. But as you can tell, it's kind of big and chunky. All right, let's talk about the knife itself, though. Well, what you have in it is, well, first of all, the handles here are a red smooth bone, and they're nicely fitted on there. This, you got plenty of ridges going across here. If you can look there and see all the ridges, and you notice there's 5 different layers on here, and those 5 layers basically contain most of the tools that you'll find on a Victorinox Fieldmaster. Now, the Fieldmaster is the Huntsman with a Phillips screwdriver on the back instead of a corkscrew. It also obviously has the parcel hook. This is actually a Boy Scout version, so this is still called a Huntsman, even though technically it's a Fieldmaster. So it has the parcel hook, and it also has the punch over here. Those you will not find on this knife. The only back tool on here is the Phillips screwdriver, and it comes out, and you've got a screwdriver nice and tight. You can see the difference between them. Much skinnier Phillips screwdriver on there than what you see on the Fieldmaster or the Huntsman. But otherwise, the blades on here, you have a saw and a wood saw and a pair of scissors, just like you would find on here. Well, you have a saw and a pair of scissors, similar to what you find on the Victorinox. The Victorinox knives are much better. I will have to talk about my wood badge knife at some other time. So, starting at the very front here, I guess we could say that's the front because the shield is there, even though you would normally see the shield on this side of the knife. So it's almost like they put the knife together backwards. You've got a pen blade up at the front here, and it is in its own groove. And the other blade that is shared with that is actually the Phillips screwdriver on the back side. And then the next blade you have is the wood saw, And you see it does have a crosscut blade going on with it, and it works fairly well actually. It works better than you would expect for a wood saw coming out of China. But it does work fairly well, which is interesting because the folks at SMKW say they have problems getting a wood saw on a Rough Ryder knife, but this is technically in the Rough Ryder line in that it is RR1A, notice the number there. So if you're looking for a semi-Rough Ryder knife with a wood saw, this is the one to go for. Next to that, you have a pair of scissors. And it's a fairly big pair of scissors, and the scissors work quite well. They are nice scissors. And then after that, you have the main blade. And the main blade has the blade edge going on there. Red Ryder, 75th anniversary, and you have both of the little guys there, Red Ryder and his sidekick Beaver, or Little Beaver, and then the Red Ryder tank stamp there. And then after that you have a can opener screwdriver similar to what you find on a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. And then on the other side, you have a cap lifter screwdriver, similar to what you would find on a Swiss Army knife. And the one thing I would say that is a problem with this knife, and also a problem with this knife, the other one, is these blades have a very lazy snap. You really have to close them by hand all the way. So they rock around, but you really have to close them by hand. They do not have any snap to them whatsoever. That's one of the biggest problems with this knife. But really, what this knife is appealing to is people who are interested in Red Ryder memorabilia. And so it's very much a niche market, and the folks who are buying it are not going to be too concerned with the how lazy the cap lifter screwdriver is, or the can opener. It's unfortunate. I mean, they could have done a little bit better job on that just by improving the back spring there. The knife is pretty cool for those folks who are interested in Red Ryder material. I cannot picture anyone getting one of these knives for actual use, because quite frankly, even though this one is called a boy's knife, this is probably not the best knife for a young boy to start his life off with when it comes to collecting knives or using knives, because it's well, the build quality is marginal at best. It's really here purely for fans of Red Ryder, and I'm a fan of Red Ryder. That's why I have it. As for another difference between these two knives, well, first of all, it's going to wind up again. The pair of scissors is the second item that comes out here, as opposed to here where the saw is the second blade that comes out. Notice the difference there. So scissors on the typical one, or the standard boy's knife, the saw is number 2 on the 75th anniversary knife. And here's an interesting tidbit. On this one, the one where the saw is the middle blade, at least on the one I have, it is darn near impossible for me to get the saw out without taking the scissors out and taking the main blade out and then grabbing the saw a little bit. And even then it becomes very difficult because the saw is just buried in there and there's no little lip there to grab. So definitely a flaw, at least on mine. Now it could be the build quality of these things, but one of the things that I noticed on this knife. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking at these as an actual usable knife. I think I would say they kind of fail in that area. But if you're just a big fan of Red Ryder and you got to have all things Red Ryder, then this 75th anniversary knife is pretty cool. This one, not so much, but the 75th anniversary, at least all the blades are usable. Obviously, the Colonial USA made one is much better than this one. For one thing, it weighs almost an ounce less. But anyway, I thought I would show it, talk a little bit about it, let people know what it's like. If you're out there looking to pick up a Red Ryder 75th, really the only reason to pick it up is because you're a fan of Red Ryder and you want the 75th anniversary. If you're buying it because you think it'd be a really cool knife to use, stick with a used Swiss Army knife. Just go ahead and grab a Fieldmaster or a Huntsman. It'll do you a much better job than this one ever will. Anyway, stick around for the slideshow so you can see a little bit more of the knife. Now, in another 5 or 6 months, I might think about doing a video on another knife that I think would look really good in Red Ryder colors. But for now, I'm just going to move on and let you guys go. Thank you for visiting Knife Chats. I hope you enjoyed your time here. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel and ringing that notification bell so that you will be notified when the next episode of Knife Chats is up online. Thanks again. See you soon.